The first sign that humanity wasn't alone in the universe came not through radio signals or massive spaceships, but through dreams. Dr. Sarah Chin noticed it first in her sleep lab at the Berkeley Institute for Neuroscience, a peculiar pattern appearing in the brain waves of every single test subject, regardless of age, gender, or background. It was subtle, like a whispered melody just at the edge of hearing. She might have dismissed it as an equipment malfunction if not for the fact that it appeared simultaneously in sleep labs across the globe. The pattern was always the same, a gentle, rhythmic oscillation that seemed to resonate with something deep in the human brainstem. Something ancient. Something that spoke of stars. "It's like they're trying to tune an instrument," Sarah muttered to herself one night, staring at the flowing lines on her monitor. She'd been working 18-hour days for weeks, ever since the pattern first appeared. Her colleagues thought she was chasing shadows, but Sarah knew better. She'd spent her entire career studying the intersection of human consciousness and musical harmonics. This was different. This was deliberate. The breakthrough came on a rainy Tuesday in October. Sarah was half asleep at her desk, her cold coffee forgotten beside her keyboard, when the pattern changed. It wasn't just a simple rhythm anymore. It had become complex, mathematical, precise. And hidden within it was a message. The aliens called themselves the Harmonious Collective, a federation of species spanning 3 spiral arms of the galaxy. They had been watching Earth for centuries, fascinated by what they called a death world, a planet so inherently hostile that it should have been impossible for intelligent life to evolve there. But humans had done more than survive, they had thrived. What truly amazed the collective, however, was something uniquely human: music. While other species had developed musical expressions, human music was different. It contained patterns that resonated with the fundamental frequencies of consciousness itself. Without realizing it, humanity had been broadcasting healing frequencies across the cosmos for millennia. "You mean every lullaby, every folk song?" Sarah's voice trailed off as she spoke to the holographic representative of the collective, a being that looked like a cross between a jellyfish and a wind chime. "Each one a potential medicine," the alien responded, its translucent form shimmering with colors that matched its words. "Your species creates healing harmonies instinctively, without conscious effort. It is a gift we have never encountered before." But not everyone in the galaxy welcomed this discovery. The Mercantile Syndicate, a powerful coalition of worlds that controlled most of the galaxy's medical technology, saw Earth's musical gift as a threat. Within days of the first contact, their agents began moving in the shadows, preparing to neutralize this potential disruption to their profit margins. Sarah found herself at the center of it all. The sleep lab became a hub of interstellar diplomacy, with representatives from dozens of worlds coming to study human music's healing properties. She watched in amazement as a simple recording of Bach's Cello Suite No. 1 relieved an alien diplomat's chronic pain condition, something their advanced medical technology had failed to treat for decades. But with each success came increased attention from the syndicate. Strange accidents began happening in the lab. Equipment malfunctioned. Data disappeared. And then came the dreams, not the gentle harmonies of the collective, but discordant nightmares that left the research team shaking and disoriented. "They're trying to stop us," Sarah's assistant, Marcus, said one evening as they reviewed security footage. "But they don't understand what they're dealing with. Music isn't just something we do, it's part of who we are." He was right. Humanity had evolved on a planet that should have killed them. They had survived ice ages, plagues, and catastrophes that would have wiped out most species. And through it all, they had sung. They had created music that could heal, inspire, and transform. It wasn't just a skill, it was a survival mechanism honed by millions of years on a death world. As Sarah stood at her window watching the sunset, she could feel the weight of what was coming. The syndicate wouldn't stop with sabotage. They would escalate, try to discredit Earth, perhaps even attempt to isolate the planet from galactic society. But they had made a crucial mistake. They had threatened something fundamentally human. And if there was one thing Deathworlders knew how to do, it was fight back. She turned back to her computer and began composing a message to the collective. It was time to show the galaxy exactly what human music could do. The Symphony of Humanity was about to begin, and its first movement would shake the stars themselves. As night fell over Berkeley, the sleep lab's monitors continued their endless dance of waves and patterns. But now, mixed in with the usual rhythms of human sleep, there was something new, a harmony that spoke of defiance, of determination, and of hope. The music of humanity was rising, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Galactic Council's Grand Chamber buzzed with anticipation as Dr. Sarah Chun prepared for her demonstration. Representatives from over 300 worlds filled the crystalline amphitheater, their varied forms creating a living tapestry of alien life. Some floated in containment fields, others merged with mechanical interfaces, but all watched with intense interest as Sarah activated the holographic display. "What you're about to witness," she began, her voice steady despite her racing heart, "is not just music. It's the culmination of 6 months of research into what we call the harmonic resonance theory." The display showed a complex web of interconnected frequencies, pulsing in time with a gentle human heartbeat. The first test subject was a meridian, a crystalline being suffering from catastrophic lattice degradation, their equivalent of terminal cancer. Sarah nodded to her team, and they began playing a specially composed piece that combined elements of classical Indian ragas with Mongolian throat singing. The effect was immediate and stunning. The meridian's fractured surface began to realign, damaged crystal planes knitting themselves back together as the music filled the chamber. Gasps of astonishment rippled through the audience as the being's natural luminescence returned, glowing with renewed vitality. But it was what happened next that truly changed everything. As the music continued, other aliens in the chamber began showing signs of positive physiological responses. Species that had been at war for generations found their ancient hostilities mellowing in the face of shared healing. The music wasn't just fixing bodies, it was mending souls. Back on Earth, the International Harmonic Institute had sprung up practically overnight. Every major city now hosted a training center where musicians worked alongside xenobiologists to develop specialized healing compositions. The results defied explanation: chronic conditions vanishing, genetic disorders reversing, even psychological trauma being processed and released through carefully calibrated soundscapes. Marcus, now heading the Institute's research division, had made another breakthrough. "It's not just the music itself," he explained to Sarah over a holographic conference call. "It's the human element. When our musicians perform, they're unconsciously adjusting the frequencies in response to their patients. We're natural empaths, we just never knew it because we evolved in such a harsh environment that we had to suppress it to survive." The implications were staggering. Humanity, forged in the crucible of their death world, had developed not just resilience, but a profound capacity for healing. Their very nervous systems had evolved to channel and transmit therapeutic frequencies. Every human child humming a tune was unknowingly practicing an art that could reshape the galaxy. But success bred opposition. The mercantile syndicate's profits were plummeting as more worlds turned to human musical therapy. Their lobbyists flooded the Galactic Council with warnings about the dangers of unregulated human frequencies. They funded studies suggesting that prolonged exposure to Earth music could lead to dangerous levels of emotional awareness in traditionally stoic species. Sarah found herself working longer hours, pushing herself and her team to document every success, every breakthrough. They couldn't give the syndicate any ammunition. But the pressure was building, and not everyone could handle it. One of her most talented musicians, a young violinist named James, collapsed during a healing session. "We're not machines," he told her from his hospital bed. "This gift of ours, it takes something from us each time we use it. We feel everything they feel, every pain, every fear. It's beautiful, but it's exhausting." He was right, and it forced Sarah to confront an uncomfortable truth: humanity's gift came with a price. The same sensitivity that allowed them to heal others made them vulnerable to the galaxy's pain. They needed to find a balance, and quickly. The solution came from an unexpected source. A group of collective elders, moved by humanity's willingness to share their gift despite the personal cost, offered to teach them ancient meditation techniques. These practices would help humans channel their abilities while maintaining their own well-being. As Sarah watched her team integrate these new techniques, she felt a surge of pride. Humans were adapting, as they always had. The harsh conditions of Earth had taught them not just to survive, but to thrive by helping others. Now, facing galactic opposition, they were proving once again that their greatest strength lay not in their ability to endure hardship, but in their capacity to transform it into something beautiful. In the quiet moments between sessions, Sarah often found herself drawn to the Institute's observation deck. Looking up at the stars, she could almost feel the music of the spheres, the cosmic symphony that humanity was now part of. The Syndicate might have power and resources, but humanity had something far more precious: the ability to heal, to connect, to transform. The battle for the galaxy's heart was just beginning, and humanity's song was growing stronger every day. The attack came without warning. The Harmonic Institute's primary healing center on Proxima Centauri's second colony world erupted in chaos as the facility's environmental systems suddenly reversed. The carefully maintained resonance chambers, designed to amplify human musical frequencies, became death traps as sound-dampening fields activated at full power. Inside the main treatment chamber, Sarah Chen fought against waves of vertigo as the attack disrupted the healing session she'd been conducting. Around her, alien patients writhed in distress as the therapeutic harmonics were replaced by discordant frequencies that seemed designed to cause maximum discomfort. Emergency protocols. Sarah shouted over the cacophony, her voice barely audible through the interference. Get everyone to the safe zones. Her team moved with practiced efficiency, despite the disorientation. Months of dealing with accidents had prepared them for something like this. But this was different. This wasn't a subtle act of sabotage, it was a direct assault. As Sarah helped evacuate the last patient, she caught a glimpse of her attackers through the facility's transparent walls. Figures in sleek environmental suits moved through the corridors, their insignias identifying them as agents of the Mercantile Syndicate's Health Safety Division. Marcus's voice crackled through her emergency communicator. Sarah, they're not just hitting us here. Reports coming in from all over the sector. Every major human healing facility is under attack. His voice was strained, but determined. They're calling it a public health intervention. The Syndicate had played its hand well. By staging simultaneous attacks across multiple worlds, they'd created a narrative of urgent necessity. Their media outlets were already broadcasting footage of the intervention, carefully edited to make it appear as though they were shutting down dangerous, unregulated medical experiments. But they had underestimated humanity's response. As news of the attack spread, something remarkable happened. The patients who had been healed by human music began sharing their stories. Not through official channels or carefully crafted statements, but through the vast, informal networks that connected the galaxy's countless species. Stories spread of terminal illnesses cured, of chronic pain vanished, of psychological trauma healed through nothing more than human songs. More importantly, they spoke of the humans themselves, of their willingness to exhaust themselves helping others, of their stubborn refusal to commodify their gift, of their endless creativity in adapting their music to each species' needs. In the aftermath of the attack, Sarah found herself addressing an emergency session of the Galactic Council. The chamber was tense, divided between those who supported the Syndicate's actions and those who saw them for what they were, a desperate attempt to maintain control over galactic medicine. The Syndicate claims we are dangerous, Sarah began, her voice clear and steady. They're right. We are dangerous. To any system that values profit over healing, control over cooperation, fear over hope. She paused, letting her words sink in. But we are not dangerous because of our music. We are dangerous because we choose to share it freely. As she spoke, a soft humming began to fill the chamber. It started with the human delegates, but quickly spread as alien representatives joined in, adding their own voices to the harmony. The sound grew, transformed, became something new, a symphony of species united in defiance of those who would silence them. The Syndicate's representatives shifted uncomfortably in their seats as the music swelled. They had expected to face angry protests, legal challenges, perhaps even violent resistance. Instead, They faced something far more powerful, a song of unity that transcended species and politics. But even as the council chamber resonated with harmony, Sarah knew this was only the beginning. The syndicate would not give up easily. They would find new ways to attack, new methods to discredit and destroy. Yet for the first time, she felt truly confident about humanity's place in the galaxy. Back at the damaged facility, cleanup crews were already at work. Human engineers collaborated with alien technicians, incorporating new defensive measures into the rebuilt resonance chambers. But they were doing more than just repairing damage. They were evolving, adapting, creating hybrid technologies that combined human musical intuition with alien scientific advancement. Sarah walked through the reconstruction site, listening to the rhythmic sounds of repair work. Even this, she realized, had its own kind of music, the pulse of creation, of renewal, of life persisting despite all attempts to suppress it. It reminded her of Earth's history, of how humans had always found ways to turn destruction into opportunity, tragedy into triumph. As she reached her office, a message waited from the Harmonious Collective. They had been monitoring the situation and had come to a decision. They would officially recognize human musical therapy as a protected art form under galactic law. More than that, they were offering Earth full membership in the collective, an unprecedented move that would give humanity a powerful ally against the syndicate. The stars were changing their tune, and humanity's song was growing stronger. The syndicate had tried to silence them, but they had only succeeded in proving why human music was so powerful in the first place. It wasn't just about healing bodies, it was about healing hearts, building bridges, creating connections across the vast gulfs of space and species. The discord in the stars had failed to break humanity's spirit. Instead, it had revealed their true strength, the ability to turn cacophony into symphony, chaos into harmony, conflict into cooperation. The galaxy was learning what Earth had known all along, that the most powerful music comes from those who have faced the harshest storms and still found reason to sing. The first cases appeared in the crowded ports of the galactic core. At first, it seemed like nothing serious, a slight dissonance in the neural patterns of affected species, a subtle disruption of their natural rhythms. But within weeks, the condition had spread to over 50 worlds, leaving millions in a state of perpetual discord. The Mercantile Syndicate's medical technology proved useless against what was being called the Chaos Plague. Their most advanced neural stabilizers couldn't touch it. The disease seemed to operate on a fundamental frequency level, disrupting the very harmony of consciousness itself. Sarah Chun was reviewing the latest data when the emergency transmission came through. The holographic figure of Ambassador Tal, their most steadfast ally in the Harmonious Collective, flickered into view. The usually melodious being's form was distorted, its colors muted. "We need you." Tal's message was direct, desperate. "The plague has reached our central worlds. Our youngest are the most vulnerable. They're losing their ability to maintain harmonic coherence. Without it, they'll..." The transmission cut off abruptly. Sarah didn't hesitate. Within hours, she had assembled a team of Earth's most gifted musical healers. The collective provided their fastest ships, breaking several interstellar treaties to get the human team to the affected worlds as quickly as possible. What they found shocked even their experienced healers. The plague wasn't just affecting individual consciousness, it was disrupting the very social bonds that held advanced societies together. Species that relied on psychic or harmonic connections were being torn apart at the most fundamental level. "It's like their inner music is being replaced by noise," Marcus observed, studying the readings from their diagnostic equipment. "And the effect is exponential. The more individuals are affected, the faster it spreads." Sarah felt a chill as she realized the implications. "This isn't natural," she said quietly. "The frequency patterns are too precise, too calculated." She turned to her team. "Someone engineered this." The evidence was irrefutable. The plague was a weapon, designed to target the most advanced and interconnected societies in the galaxy. And there was only one organization with both the resources and the motive to create such a thing. But even as Sarah's team worked to prove the syndicate's involvement, they faced a more immediate crisis. The plague was spreading faster than they could treat it. Traditional healing songs barely slowed its progress. They needed something more. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. James, the young violinist who had once collapsed from the strain of healing, had been experimenting with a new form of musical therapy. Instead of trying to impose harmony from outside, he had found a way to amplify the natural frequencies of the patients themselves. Every being has their own inner song, he explained to Sarah. Even when it's disrupted by the plague, it's still there. We just need to help them remember it. The new technique was revolutionary. Human healers learned to listen not just with their ears, but with their entire beings, finding the unique melody at the core of each patient's consciousness. They became living amplifiers, helping affected individuals reconnect with their own internal harmony. The work was exhausting, more demanding than anything they had attempted before. Many healers could only work for short periods before needing to rest. But as news of their success spread, more humans volunteered. Musicians, singers, even people with no formal training but a strong sense of rhythm and melody came forward to help. The syndicate, realizing their weapon was being countered, launched a desperate propaganda campaign. They claimed human music was actually spreading the plague, that Earth was trying to destabilize the galaxy to seize power. But their accusations fell flat against the growing evidence of human healing. Sarah worked tirelessly, coordinating teams across affected worlds while continuing to treat patients herself. She had never felt more fulfilled or more exhausted. The plague forced them to push the boundaries of their abilities, to discover new aspects of human musical potential they had never imagined. One evening, as she watched a group of newly trained healers working with young collective members, she noticed something extraordinary. The affected children weren't just being cured, they were learning to sing human songs. The music was spreading, not as a plague, but as a gift, passed from species to species. In the midst of crisis, humanity had discovered its true purpose in the galaxy. They weren't just healers, they were teachers, showing others how to find and maintain their own harmony. The plague, meant to destroy, had instead become a catalyst for unprecedented unity. As Sarah recorded her daily log, she allowed herself a moment of hope. The syndicate tried to use discord as a weapon, she spoke into the recorder. Instead, they've helped us prove that harmony is stronger than any disease, any weapon, any attempt to divide us. The symphony of survival isn't just about enduring, it's about growing stronger together. The battle was far from over, but the tide had turned. Across the galaxy, the music of humanity was becoming a symbol not of Earth's power, but of the universe's potential for healing and transformation. The stars themselves seemed to pulse with a new rhythm, a promise of harmony yet to come. The great hall of the collective central world shimmered with a light that seemed to pulse in time with the combined heartbeats of 1,000 different species. Dr. Sarah Chin stood before the assembled representatives, her voice carrying the weight of both triumph and revelation. "What we've discovered goes beyond healing," she announced, her words translated into hundreds of languages simultaneously. The chaos plague forced us to dig deeper into the nature of consciousness itself, and what we found changed everything we thought we knew about humanity's place in the universe. The holographic displays behind her showed the intricate patterns they had mapped, the way human music interacted with alien consciousness at the quantum level. It wasn't just sound, it was a fundamental force that humans had evolved to channel naturally, shaped by millions of years of surviving on their death world. Earth's harsh conditions didn't just make us resilient, Sarah explained. They forced us to develop a defense mechanism that we never fully understood until now. Every lullaby, every war cry, every celebration song, they were all expressions of our ability to manipulate the quantum harmonic field that connects all conscious beings. The evidence was undeniable. Human brains had evolved specialized structures that acted as natural quantum resonators, allowing them to unconsciously tune into and influence the underlying fabric of consciousness itself. It explained why human music had such profound effects on alien physiology, and why the chaos plague could only be countered by human intervention. But the real breakthrough came when they began teaching other species to access this field themselves. It turned out that while humans were natural conduits, many alien species had the potential to develop similar abilities through careful training and practice. Marcus, now leading a joint human-alien research team, had created a training program that combined traditional human musical education with alien meditation techniques. "We're not just teaching them songs," he explained to the assembly. "We're showing them how to find their own inner harmony and connect it to the universal field." The implications were staggering. Species that had been dependent on technology for mental and physical health began developing their own healing abilities. The mercantile syndicate's monopoly on medical treatment was crumbling not through direct competition, but through a fundamental shift in how the galaxy understood health and consciousness. The syndicate's response was swift and desperate. They released proof that they had indeed created the Chaos Plague, but claimed it was a necessary step to prevent humanity from dominating the galaxy through their musical abilities. Their evidence was meant to incite fear of human power, but it backfired spectacularly. Instead of fear, their revelation sparked a wave of gratitude and admiration for how humans had responded to the crisis. Rather than using their abilities for dominance, humans had freely shared their gift, even teaching others to develop similar capabilities. The Harmonious Collective proposed something unprecedented, a new galactic concordat that would recognize consciousness itself as a fundamental right, protected and nurtured across all species. Human musical healing would be the foundation, but every species would be encouraged to discover and develop their own unique contributions to what they called the Universal Symphony. Sarah watched from the observation deck as ships from hundreds of worlds arrived, carrying representatives eager to join the new alliance. Among them were even some former syndicate worlds, their people choosing harmony over profit, cooperation over control. The most profound change was happening on a personal level. Humans and aliens working together began developing new forms of music that combined the best of both their traditions. The resulting harmonies were unlike anything either species could create alone. James, who had once struggled with the burden of healing, now led a mixed-species orchestra that specialized in what they called quantum harmonics, music that operated simultaneously on physical, mental, and quantum levels. Their performances became legendary, drawing audiences from across the galaxy. But it was the children who truly showed the way forward. Young humans and aliens growing up together naturally learned to share their gifts, creating new forms of communication and connection that transcended traditional species boundaries. They didn't see differences, they only saw new opportunities for harmony. As Sarah prepared for another training session, she reflected on how far they had come. The Chaos Plague, meant to divide and destroy, had instead united the galaxy in ways previously unimaginable. Humanity had not only found its place among the stars, but had helped create a new understanding of what was possible when different species worked together. The mercantile syndicate's power was fading, not through violence or force, but through the simple reality that they had nothing left to offer a galaxy that was learning to heal itself. Their weapons and threats seemed hollow against the growing symphony of unified consciousness that was spreading from world to world. In the end, it wasn't human resilience alone that had changed the galaxy. It was their willingness to share, to teach, to learn, and to grow alongside other species. The death world that had shaped humanity had given them not just the strength to survive, but the wisdom to understand that true power lay in harmony, not dominance. As the stars wheeled overhead, their light seemed to pulse with a new rhythm, a growing chorus of consciousness that spanned the galaxy. The crescendo of unity was building, and its song would echo through the cosmos for generations to come. 5 years after the Chaos Plague, the galaxy had transformed in ways that even the most optimistic visionaries hadn't imagined. The Great Hall of Earth's first Harmonic Academy buzzed with activity as beings from across the cosmos gathered for what had become known as the Symphony of Worlds. Dr. Sarah Chin stood at the center of it all, her hair now streaked with silver, watching as human and alien musicians prepared for the performance. The annual event had grown from a simple demonstration of healing techniques into something far more profound, a celebration of consciousness itself. "Ready for the big moment?" Marcus asked, joining her on the observation platform. He had aged too, but his eyes still held the same excitement they had shown when they first discovered the healing properties of human music. Sarah nodded, touching the quantum resonance monitor on her wrist. "The readings are stronger than ever. were picking up harmonic patterns from over 10,000 light-years away. The transformation of galactic society had been revolutionary but peaceful. The Mercantile Syndicate, its power broken by the failure of the Chaos Plague, had gradually dissolved as its member worlds chose to join the new Harmonic Alliance. Their vast medical facilities had been converted into centers for consciousness research and development, where technology and natural abilities worked in harmony. But the real change was cultural. The sharing of human musical abilities had led to an explosion of creativity across species. New art forms emerged that combined different species' perceptions and abilities. Architecture began to incorporate harmonic principles, creating buildings that literally sang with life. Even space travel was transformed as ships were designed to resonate with the quantum field, making faster-than-light travel more efficient and safer than ever before. The former Syndicate worlds, initially the most resistant to change, had become some of the most enthusiastic supporters of the new order. Their deep understanding of medical science, when combined with human musical healing and alien consciousness techniques, led to breakthroughs that would have seemed like magic just a few years before. "It's time," James announced, now a respected master of interspecies harmony. The lights in the Great Hall dimmed, and the Symphony of Worlds began. It started with a single human voice, clear and pure, singing an ancient Earth lullaby. Then, one by one, other voices joined in, the crystalline tones of the meridians, the subsonic rumbles of the gas giant dwellers, the quantum whistles of the energy beings. Each species added its own unique voice to the growing harmony. As the music swelled, the quantum resonance monitors recorded something extraordinary. The combined consciousness of the performers and audience was creating patterns that extended far beyond the hall, rippling through space itself. They were literally singing to the stars, and the stars were singing back. Sarah felt tears in her eyes as she watched the performance. She thought back to those first days in her sleep lab, when she had noticed that strange pattern in human brain waves. How far they had come from those tentative beginnings. The Harmonious Collective had been right all along. Earth's classification as a death world had been crucial to humanity's development, but not in the way anyone had expected. The harsh conditions hadn't just made humans tough, they had forced them to develop abilities that would eventually help heal the entire galaxy. As the symphony reached its crescendo, holographic displays showed the quantum resonance patterns spreading across the galaxy like ripples in a cosmic pond. Each world they touched lit up with its own unique harmony, adding to the growing chorus of consciousness. The performance ended with a new piece, composed jointly by human and alien musicians. It incorporated elements from thousands of musical traditions, yet somehow created something entirely new, a true song of unity that touched every being in the hall at the deepest level of consciousness. After the applause faded, Sarah made her way to the Academy's garden, a place where earth plants grew alongside alien flora in perfect harmony. The next generation of healers was already training here, human children working alongside young aliens, each learning from the other's strengths and perspectives. "Dr. Chin," a young voice called out. A human girl and her Meridian friend approached, both holding what looked like musical instruments. "We've been practicing that new harmony technique you taught us." Sarah smiled, remembering her own early days of discovery. "Show me," she said, sitting down on a bench designed to accommodate multiple species. As the children demonstrated their progress, Sarah felt a profound sense of rightness. This was humanity's true destiny, not to dominate or control, but to teach and learn, to heal and grow, to add their unique voice to the universal chorus. The stars twinkled overhead, their light seeming to pulse in time with the children's music. Somewhere out there, new worlds were discovering their own harmonies, new species were learning to sing with the quantum field, and the symphony of consciousness continued to grow. The universe, it turned out, had always been singing. Humanity had simply helped everyone learn to listen and to join in the song. As night fell over the Academy, the quantum resonance monitors continued to record the ever-growing harmony of a galaxy united not by force or fear, but by the simple, profound power of shared music. The Deathworlders had brought life, the warriors had brought peace, and the song of humanity had become part of something far greater than itself. The universal chorus played on, and its melody would echo through the cosmos forever.